The notification popped up on my laptop at 2:57 a.m. while I was finishing a quarterly report for the firm. Just a random cloud backup alert. Nothing unusual. Except this time, my wife Ashley's phone had accidentally synced to my computer instead of hers. We'd set up our devices years ago, back when we trusted each other with passwords and didn't think twice about shared Apple IDs. I almost ignored it. Should have ignored it. But there was a preview of a text message from someone named Brad Jim with a timestamp from 20 minutes earlier. Ashley was supposedly asleep upstairs. The preview read, "Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow. Same hotel?" My hands froze over the keyboard. The cursor blinked at me, waiting. My heart hammered so hard I could hear it in my ears. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe it was spam. Maybe someone hacked her phone. Maybe I was misreading it. 10 years of marriage, 2 beautiful kids sleeping down the hall, a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio. We had everything. Ashley wouldn't throw that away. I clicked on the notification. The messages loaded, and my entire world collapsed in the span of 30 seconds. 3 months. They'd been seeing each other for 3 months. The texts were explicit, detailing encounters at the Marriott off I-270, lunch breaks that ran long, lies she'd told me about yoga classes and girls' nights out. There were photos, too. Nothing I could unsee. Nothing I'd ever forget. My wife of 10 years, the mother of my children, the woman who'd stood at an altar and promised to forsake all others, had been sleeping with her personal trainer every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon while I thought she was working on her fitness goals. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd been the one who encouraged her to join that gym, paid for the membership, even covered the cost of the personal training sessions because she'd said it would help with her postpartum depression after our youngest, Emma, was born 2 years ago. I sat there in my home office, the blue light from the screen washing over me, reading through months of betrayal. They had inside jokes, pet names for each other. He called her Ash with a little fire emoji. She called him B with a heart. They'd been together the previous afternoon, yesterday, technically, since it was now past midnight, while I'd been at work, grinding through client meetings and conference calls to pay for this house, this life, her gym membership. The message thread went back to January. It was now early April. I checked the calendar hanging on my office wall. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like clockwork. I grabbed my phone and pulled up our shared family calendar. Every single Tuesday and Thursday for the past 3 months, Ashley had blocked out time for yoga or training or gym. She'd been systematic about it. Organized. This wasn't some drunken mistake or one-time lapse in judgment. This was calculated, ongoing, deliberate deception. I heard footsteps upstairs. The bathroom door closed. Water ran through the pipes in the walls. Ashley was awake. I had maybe 5 minutes before she came looking for me, wondering why I was still up. I screenshot everything. Every message, every photo, every detail. I created a new folder on my desktop labeled Work Q1 Reports and dumped everything inside. Then I emailed the entire folder to my personal Gmail account, the one Ashley didn't have access to. The toilet flushed. Footsteps crossed the bedroom floor above me. I cleared the notification from my laptop and closed all the windows, pulling my actual work report back up just as I heard her descending the stairs. "Babe?" Ashley's voice drifted down the hallway, soft and sleepy. "You're still up?" I stared at the spreadsheet in front of me, numbers blurring together. My hands were shaking. I clasped them together under the desk. "Yeah," I called back, surprised at how normal my voice sounded. "Just finishing this report, due tomorrow." She appeared in the doorway wearing one of my old college t-shirts and pajama shorts. Her blonde hair was messy from sleep, and she had that soft, vulnerable look that had made me fall in love with her 12 years ago at Ohio State. She looked like the woman I'd married, like the mother of my children, like someone incapable of what I'd just discovered. "Come to bed," she said, yawning. "It's late." I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but cold rage wrapped in a thin veneer of shock. This woman had shared my bed, my life, my dreams. We'd built everything together, and she'd been lying to my face for 3 months straight. "I'll be up in a few minutes," I said. She patted over and kissed the top of my head. I smelled her shampoo, the same brand she'd used for years. Everything was familiar. Everything was a lie. "Don't work too hard, Tyler," she whispered. "You need sleep too." Then she was gone. Footsteps retreating up the stairs, back to our bedroom, to our bed, where she'd crawl under sheets I'd paid for and sleep peacefully while my entire existence crumbled. I sat there for another hour, not moving, barely breathing. The house settled around me with its familiar creaks and sighs. Somewhere in the darkness, my kids slept, innocent and unaware that their family was about to implode. At 4:15 a.m., I finally stood up. My legs were stiff, my back ached, and my mind was racing with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Ashley had made her choice. Now I'd make mine. But I wouldn't be rash. I wouldn't be stupid. I'd be smart, methodical, and absolutely thorough. She wanted to play games? Fine. I'd been a corporate litigation analyst for 8 years. I knew how to build a case. I knew how to gather evidence. And I knew exactly how to protect myself. The sun came up at 7:14 a.m. I know because I watched every minute of it through the office window, my phone heavy in my hand, the screenshot still glowing on the screen when I tapped it awake every few minutes. Ashley's alarm went off upstairs at 6:30. I heard the shower run. Heard her moving through our bedroom, the familiar sounds of her morning routine. The hairdryer. The closet door sliding open. All of it exactly the same as every other Thursday morning. Thursday. Gym day. Brad day. I'd pulled up her calendar again around 5 a.m., cross-referencing it with the message timestamps. The pattern was perfect. Surgical. Every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 months, personal training 10 a.m. blocked out on her schedule. The messages confirmed what happened after. Running late, traffic was bad, at 12:47 p.m. Just finished, grabbing lunch, at 1:15 p.m. Always the same window, always the same lies. The Marriott was 17 minutes from our house. I'd map-quested it at 5:32 a.m., studying the route she would have taken. Down Henderson Road to I-270, exit at Tuttle Crossing. There was a Panera in the same parking lot. She'd mentioned getting soup there. Another detail that had seemed so normal, so mundane. Another brick in the wall of her deception. I heard her footsteps on the stairs at 7:18 a.m. "Tyler." Her voice drifted down the hallway. "You're still in your office?" I didn't answer. Couldn't trust my voice yet. She appeared in the doorway wearing black yoga pants and a fitted pink tank top. Her gym bag was slung over one shoulder. Her hair was pulled back in a high ponytail, blonde and perfect, the way Brad apparently liked it based on the message from February 14th. "That ponytail is driving me crazy. Can't wait to wrap it around my fist later." Valentine's Day. I'd sent her flowers to the house that morning. 24 roses. She'd texted me a photo of them with 3 heart emojis. "Babe, did you sleep down here?" She stepped closer, concern creasing her forehead. "You look exhausted." Quarterly report. The lie came easier than I expected. Had to finish the analysis for the Patterson case. "You work too hard." She crossed to my desk, leaned down to kiss my forehead. I smelled her shampoo, coconut and vanilla, and something darker twisted in my chest. "You should get some sleep. I'm heading to the gym." Of course she was. "What time will you be back?" I kept my voice level, professional. The same tone I used with opposing counsel. Probably around 1. I might grab lunch after. She adjusted her gym bag, the movement casual, practiced. Emma's at daycare until 3. You should really try to rest. I watched her walk away, watched her pause at the door to call back, Love you, babe. Love you too, I said to the empty hallway. The garage door opened at 7:24 a.m. Her Lexus SUV, the one I'd bought her last year for our anniversary, backed out of the driveway. I tracked her movement through the window until she disappeared around the corner of Willow Creek Drive. Then I moved. I'd been planning it since 4 a.m., running through the logistics with the same methodical approach I used for case strategy. I needed more than text messages. I needed irrefutable courtroom-quality evidence. Her laptop was still on the kitchen counter where she'd left it the night before. I knew her password, Emma 2021, because we'd set up her email together when she got the computer. She'd never changed it. Why would she? We trusted each other. The laptop opened to her Gmail. I didn't have much time, but I didn't need much. I pulled up her sent folder and started scrolling. There. February 3rd, an email to her sister Megan. Can you cover for me if Tyler asks? Told him I'm meeting you for lunch Tuesday, but I actually have plans. We'll explain later. XOXO. I screenshot it. Kept scrolling. January 18th, an email confirmation from the Marriott for a special corporate rate room booking. Another screenshot. Her deleted folder was a goldmine. She'd been careful, but not careful enough. Messages to Brad's personal email. Apparently, they'd graduated beyond text at some point. I found hotel confirmations, restaurant reservations, even a Venmo payment to him for training sessions that I now understood had nothing to do with fitness. My hands were steady as I forwarded everything to my personal email. Every receipt, every confirmation, every lie documented and preserved. At 8:47 a.m., I opened her Photos app. I shouldn't have. I had enough evidence already. But some sick, self-destructive part of me needed to see it. Needed to confirm what I already knew. The photos were in a hidden album labeled Recipes. Clever. I would have scrolled right past it, except I knew Ashley never cooked from recipes. She used cooking blogs on her phone, not saved photos. I clicked it open. The first image was from the Marriott. I recognized the generic hotel art on the wall, the beige comforter. Ashley was in it, wearing black lingerie I'd never seen before. She was smiling at the camera. At Brad. The timestamp said January 24th, 2:47 p.m. I'd been in a deposition that afternoon. I remembered because I'd texted her during a break, asking if she wanted me to pick up dinner on the way home. She'd said she'd already eaten. Had a big lunch after the gym. There were 43 photos in the album. I didn't look at all of them. Couldn't. But I took screenshots of the timestamps, the metadata. Evidence. Everything was evidence now. At 9:15 a.m., I was back in my office with her laptop closed and returned to its exact position on the counter. I'd wiped my search history, cleared the recent files. Left no trace. I sat at my desk and opened my work email. Typed out a message to my supervisor, Kevin Wright. Kevin, family emergency. Need to take personal time today and tomorrow. Will have my phone if anything urgent comes up. Tyler. His response came back in 4 minutes. No problem. Hope everything's okay. Everything was not okay. Everything would never be okay again. But I had work to do. At 9:47 a.m., I called the Marriott at Tuttle Crossing. The front desk agent answered on the third ring. Hi, this is Tyler Bennett. My wife Ashley Bennett has a regular reservation there, and I'm trying to surprise her with an upgrade for today's visit. Can you help me with that? The agent, her name tag would have said Crystal or Jennifer or something equally forgettable, was happy to help. Oh yes, Mr. Bennett. I see Mrs. Bennett checks in most Tuesdays and Thursdays. She usually books the standard king room for 4 hours. Would you like to upgrade her to a suite? 4 hours. Standard rate, most Tuesdays and Thursdays. Actually, I said, my voice perfectly calm, I need to cancel today's reservation. Something's come up. Oh, of course, let me just pull that up. Yes, I see it here. Check-in scheduled for 10:30 a.m. today. I'll go ahead and cancel that for you. Thank you. And can you tell me, is the reservation under her name or someone else's? A pause. It's under, let me see, a Bradley Thompson. Is that correct? Bradley Thompson. Brad. Jim. That's correct, I said. Thank you for your help. I hung up at 9:52 a.m. Ashley's training session started at 10 a.m. By 10:30, she and Brad would arrive at the Marriott to find their reservation canceled. They'd probably rebook under a different name, pay cash, make it work somehow. Or maybe they'd go somewhere else. It didn't matter. What mattered was that I'd just fired the first shot. At 10:15 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Ashley. Great workout. Grabbing lunch, then running some errands. Love you. I stared at the message for a full minute before responding. Sounds good. See you later. Then I opened my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in 6 years. Daniel Price, divorce attorney. We'd gone to Ohio State together, stayed in loose touch through LinkedIn and the occasional email. He specialized in high-asset divorces and complex custody cases. His secretary answered. Price Family Law? How may I help you? This is Tyler Bennett. I need to schedule a consultation with Daniel. Today, if possible. Mr. Bennett, let me check his schedule. May I ask what this is regarding? Divorce, I said. And I need someone who's very good at what they do. The CVS on Brickell Avenue had that same antiseptic smell they all did. Hand sanitizer, photocopier toner, and something vaguely chemical. I'd stopped by on my way home from the office, the prescription refill reminder having pinged on my phone that morning. Blood pressure medication. The doctor had prescribed it 6 months ago, said the stress from work was catching up with me. If he only knew. I stood at the pharmacy counter, third in line, scrolling through work emails on my phone while the pharmacist processed orders with methodical efficiency. The Miami heat had followed me inside despite the aggressive air conditioning, and I could feel sweat cooling on the back of my neck. Bennett? The pharmacist called. I stepped forward, sliding my insurance card across the counter. The pharmacist, name tag read Gloria, scanned it and started pulling bottles from the bins behind her. That's when I heard Ashley's voice at the adjacent counter, 10 feet to my right. I just need to pick up. It should be ready, she was saying to the other pharmacist, a younger guy with glasses. I turned slightly, careful not to make it obvious. Ashley stood there in her gym clothes, black leggings, pink tank top, hair pulled back in a ponytail. She must have come straight from one of her training sessions. My jaw tightened. The male pharmacist typed something into his computer, frowned slightly, then leaned forward. His voice dropped to what he probably thought was a discreet volume, but in the quiet pharmacy, I heard every word. Mrs. Bennett, I need to verify. This is the 3rd time in 2 months you've purchased Plan B through your insurance. I'm required to ask if you've spoken with your primary care physician about more reliable contraceptive options. There are better long-term solutions that would be more cost-effective and No, it's fine, Ashley interrupted, her voice tight. It's not for me. A friend asked me to pick it up. She doesn't have insurance, so Ma'am, I can't dispense medication for someone not on your insurance plan. That's insurance fraud. If this is for you, that's fine, but I need to document. It is for me. Ashley's face had gone red. I mean, yes, for me. Can I just get it, please? The pharmacist nodded slowly, still looking uncomfortable. The copay is $15. But I really do recommend speaking with your doctor about. I understand. Thank you. Ashley's voice had that brittle quality I'd learned to recognize over the past few weeks. The sound of someone barely holding it together. Gloria was still counting out my pills, oblivious to the drama unfolding 10 feet away. My heart hammered against my ribs. Plan B. Emergency contraception. 3 times in 2 months. Ashley and I hadn't had sex in 4 months. Not since February. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. She was still sleeping with Brad, still meeting him at hotels and cars wherever they could manage. And she was being careful, or trying to be, making sure there were no consequences. No unexpected pregnancies that would blow up her double life. I watched her complete the transaction, grab the small white bag, and turn toward the exit. She hadn't seen me. I was partially blocked by a display of vitamin supplements, and she was too focused on getting out of there. I waited until she'd pushed through the glass doors before turning back to Gloria. "Here you go, Mr. Bennett." She handed me a stapled paper bag. 30-day supply. Any questions? Actually, yes. I kept my voice level. Can I access our insurance transaction history online? My wife and I share a plan. Gloria nodded. Sure. Download the Blue Cross app, log in with your member ID. You can see all claims, prescriptions, everything. They update within 24 hours usually. Perfect. Thank you. I paid, grabbed my prescription, and walked out into the parking lot. Ashley's white Lexus was already gone, probably headed home to start dinner and pretend everything was normal. Pretend she hadn't just picked up emergency contraception for the 3rd time while her husband stood 20 feet away. I sat in my car, engine off, and pulled up the App Store on my phone. The Blue Cross Blue Shield app downloaded in seconds. I logged in using our member ID from my insurance card, created a password, and waited for it to load. The dashboard appeared. I clicked on Claims History. There it was. Today's transaction, Plan B 1 step, 15 copay, CVS Pharmacy. Brickell Avenue, 5:47 p.m. I scrolled backward. March 15th. Plan B 1 step, 15 copay, CVS Pharmacy, Coral Gables. February 28th. Plan B 1 step, 15 copay, Walgreens Coconut Grove. Different pharmacies each time. She'd been rotating locations, probably thinking that would make it less noticeable. But it was all there, documented in the insurance database, time-stamped and geotagged. I clicked on each transaction, expanding the details. Then I noticed something else. The dates corresponded with other claims. I pulled up our joint bank account on my phone, cross-referencing. February 28th. ATM withdrawal, $200, Fort Lauderdale. 2 hours before the Plan B purchase. March 15th. ATM withdrawal, 180, Pompano Beach. 90 minutes before the Plan B purchase. Today, ATM withdrawal, 200s, Hollywood, Florida. 3 hours ago. She was pulling cash in different cities. Cities 30, 40 minutes from Miami, then buying the emergency contraception on the way back. Covering her tracks, or trying to. But she'd gotten sloppy using the insurance. Probably figured I'd never check, never think to look. My hands shook as I took screenshots. Transaction history, claims details, ATM withdrawals. I created a new folder in my photos, labeled it Insurance, and saved everything there. Added it to the growing collection of evidence that now filled half my phone's storage. The drive home took 20 minutes. Ashley's Lexus was in the driveway when I pulled up. I could see her through the kitchen window moving around, probably starting dinner, playing house. I sat in the car for a moment, both hands on the steering wheel, breathing slowly. The white CVS bag sat in the passenger seat next to my phone. On the screen, the screenshot of today's Plan B transaction glowed in the dimming evening light. I could go inside, pretend I hadn't seen anything, eat dinner, help with the kids' bedtime routine, sleep in the guest room like I had been for the past 3 weeks. Keep gathering evidence, keep documenting, keep building the case. Or I could end this. Right now. Tonight. I grabbed my phone, opened the screenshots, and got out of the car. Ashley looked up when I walked in, smile already forming. "Hey, I'm making chicken parmesan. Should be ready in about..." I held up my phone. screen facing her. The insurance claim, enlarged, impossible to miss. What's this? Her smile froze. What? Plan B, CVS on Brickell, today at 5:47 p.m. I swiped to the next screenshot. March 15th, Coral Gables, another swipe. February 28th, Coconut Grove. I looked up at her. We haven't had sex since February. So either you're having an immaculate conception problem, or you want to explain who you're sleeping with that requires emergency contraception 3 times in 8 weeks? The color drained from her face. Tyler, that's not, don't. I cut her off, voice cold. I heard you at the pharmacy. The pharmacist asked you about it. You said it was for a friend, then changed your story. I was right there, Ashley, 10 feet away. She gripped the counter, knuckles white. You were spying on me? I was picking up my blood pressure medication. You know, the medication I need because of stress? Wonder where that stress comes from. I swiped to another screenshot. Here's the ATM withdrawals. Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach, Hollywood, all out of town, all on the same days as the Plan B purchases. What's in those cities, Ashley? Or should I say, who? Please, just let me explain. Get in the car. What? Get in the car. Each word came out like a hammer strike. We're going for a drive, and you're going to tell me everything, every detail, every lie, every hotel room, every time you looked me in the eye and lied, all of it. I didn't say another word until we were on the highway, heading north on I-95. Ashley sat pressed against the passenger door, her phone clutched in both hands like it might save her. The air conditioning blasted cold air between us, but I could still smell her perfume, the same one she'd worn on our first date, back when I thought I knew who she was. Tyler, please, don't. I cut her off, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. You don't get to talk yet. You get to listen. She went silent. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her hands trembling. Plan B, I said, keeping my voice level. 3 times in 2 months. The pharmacist recognized you, Ashley. She asked if everything was okay with the repeated emergency contraceptive purchases. Those were her exact words. I can explain. We haven't had sex in 4 months. I merged into the left lane, accelerating past a semi. 4 months. I know because I've been counting. I thought maybe it was the postpartum depression again. I was giving you space, being patient. She started crying. Quiet, hitching sobs that once would have broken my heart. So here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to tell me everything. Not the sanitized version. Not the story you've been rehearsing in your head since we left CVS. Everything. And if I think you're lying, if I catch even one inconsistency, I'm turning this car around and driving straight to my lawyer's office. Tyler, the kids are with your mother. I'd texted her from the CVS parking lot, asking her to pick them up from daycare. She thinks we're having a date night, trying to reconnect. The irony tasted like battery acid. I took the exit for Aventura, heading toward the beach. Somewhere public but not too crowded. Somewhere I wouldn't do something I'd regret. Ashley wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. It's not Brad anymore. My chest tightened. I know. How? The ATM withdrawals. Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach, Hollywood. Brad lives in Coral Gables. These are all north. Different pattern. I'd spent 3 hours last night mapping every transaction, every anomaly. Old habits from my litigation days. Who is he? She was quiet for so long I thought she might not answer. Then, his name is Connor. Connor Walsh. He's a client at the gym where I teach spin classes. Spin classes? She'd started teaching those 6 months ago, said it helped with her depression. I'd encouraged it, paid for the certification course. How long? 2 months. Wrong answer. I pulled up the insurance app on my phone, handed it to her. The first Plan B purchase was March 7th. 2 months and 3 weeks. Try again. Her hands shook as she looked at the screen. Okay, March. It started in March. While you were still seeing Brad? No, I ended things with Brad in February, I swear. I laughed, a harsh sound that didn't feel like it came from me. You swear? That means a lot right now, Ashley. We drove in silence for another mile. I could feel her looking at me, waiting for me to explode. But I wasn't going to give her that. Not yet. The plan B, I said. Why? Is he married too? No, he doesn't like using protection, and I can't go back on birth control because of the breastfeeding. Emma stopped breastfeeding 4 months ago. She closed her eyes. Right, I forgot. You forgot. I pulled into the parking lot at Hallover Park, found a spot facing the ocean, turned off the engine. What else did you forget? Did you forget our anniversary last month? Because you seemed pretty present for that. Dinner at that Italian place. You wore the blue dress. Told me you loved me. I do love you. Stop. I turned to face her fully for the first time since we'd left CVS. Her mascara had run, leaving dark tracks down her cheeks. She looked younger somehow, caught. You don't get to say that, not after this. Tyler, please, I made a mistake. I was confused and lonely, and 3 times. I held up 3 fingers. 3 separate Plan B purchases. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. That's a choice you made over and over. She was sobbing harder now, her whole body shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll end it. I'll never see him again. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. Like we fixed it after Brad? I pulled out my phone, opened the folder where I'd saved everything. Screenshots, transaction logs, GPS data from our shared phone plan. I know about the Marriott. I know about the Tuesday and Thursday pattern. I know you told your sister to cover for you. I know everything, Ashley. Her face went pale. You've known? Since when? Since April, 2 months ago. But you didn't say anything. I was gathering evidence. I scrolled through the photos I'd pulled from her laptop's backup. Deleted photos she thought were gone. For the divorce. No. She grabbed my arm. No, Tyler, please. Think about the kids. Think about Emma. She needs her mother. She needs a mother who doesn't lie, who doesn't sneak around, who doesn't expose herself to God knows what diseases because her boyfriend doesn't like using protection. I pulled my arm away. When's the last time you got tested? She stared at me. That's what I thought. I felt something cold settle in my chest. You've been sleeping with me. Not often, but sometimes. And you never once thought about whether you might be bringing something home. I was careful. Careful! I wanted to scream, to put my fist through the windshield. Instead, I took a breath. Plan B isn't protection against STDs, Ashley. It's protection against pregnancy, which means every time you were with him, every time you came home to our bed, to our kids, you were risking… I got tested, she interrupted. Last month. Everything came back negative. Small mercies. And him? Did he get tested? Silence. That's what I thought. I opened my door, stepped out into the humid evening air. The ocean stretched out before us, indifferent to everything falling apart on shore. Ashley followed me out, standing on the other side of the car. What happens now? Now? I leaned against the hood, feeling the residual heat from the engine. Now you go back to the house. You pack a bag. You tell your mother you need to stay with her for a while. Some story about us needing space. I don't care what you say. Tyler, I'm not finished. I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket. I'd prepared it this morning, after confirming my suspicions about the Plan B. These are printouts of everything I have. The insurance claims, the ATM withdrawals, the GPS data showing your phone at Connor Walsh's apartment in Fort Lauderdale. That's his address, by the way. I found it. Her eyes widened. I have 2 copies of everything. One goes to my lawyer tomorrow morning. The other, I held up the envelope. The other I'm keeping. Insurance. Insurance for what? For if you fight me on the divorce. For if you try to take the kids. For if you try to claim I'm the bad guy here. I met her eyes. I will bury you, Ashley. I will make sure everyone knows exactly what you did. Your spin class students, your gym, your family, everyone. You wouldn't. Try me. I got back in the car. You have until tomorrow morning to be out of the house. I'm staying at a hotel tonight. When I come home tomorrow, I want you gone. Your mother can bring the kids back tomorrow afternoon. Where are you going right now? Does it matter? I started the engine. Get in. I'm taking you home. The drive back was silent. Ashley didn't cry anymore. She just sat there, staring at her phone like it held answers. When we pulled into our driveway, the house we'd bought together 5 years ago, the house where we'd brought both our babies home, she didn't move. Ashley, I never meant to hurt you. But you did. I kept my hands on the wheel, my eyes forward. You did it anyway. She got out slowly, closed the door with a soft click. I watched her walk up the path to our front door, fumble with her keys, disappear inside. Then I backed out of the driveway and drove away. My hotel was a Hampton Inn off the highway. Clean, anonymous, nothing like home. I sat on the edge of the bed and finally let myself feel it. All of it. The betrayal. The anger. The crushing weight of 10 years dissolving like sugar in water. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel Price, my lawyer. Got your voicemail. Can meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. Bring everything you have. I typed back, I'll be there. Then I opened my email and started a new message. Subject line, divorce proceedings, Bennett view Bennett. I attached every file, every screenshot, every piece of evidence I'd collected. Tomorrow, this would all be real. Tomorrow, I'd start the process of dismantling the life we'd built. But tonight, in this anonymous room, I let myself remember what it felt like to trust her. Just for a moment. Then I hit send. I stood in the doorway watching her pack, my phone still warm in my hand from sending Daniel every screenshot, every receipt, every piece of evidence I'd collected over the past 2 months. Ashley moved mechanically between the dresser and the suitcase on our bed, folding clothes with the same precise movements she'd used 1,000 times before family vacations. Where are you going to go? I asked. She didn't look at me. My sister's in Tampa. I already texted her. Does she know why you're coming? Ashley's hands stilled on a folded sweater. I told her we had a fight. A fight? I laughed, and it came out hollow. That's what you're calling this. She finally turned to face me. Her eyes were red, but I felt nothing looking at her cry. That surprised me more than anything, how completely the numbness had settled in during the drive home from CVS. Tyler, please. Can we talk about this tomorrow, when we've both calmed down? I've had 2 months to calm down, Ash. I've been perfectly calm this entire time. I stepped into the room, and she took an involuntary step back. You want to know what's funny? I almost told you last week. We were having breakfast and Emma spilled her juice and you laughed. You actually laughed, this real laugh, and for about 5 seconds I thought maybe I'd imagined the whole thing. I never wanted to hurt you. Then what did you want? The question came out sharper than I'd intended. Help me understand. Brad wasn't enough? You needed Connor too? Or were there others I haven't found yet? She flinched. There's no one else. That's supposed to make me feel better? I pulled out my phone again, scrolled to a screenshot. March 7th, March 21st, April 4th, April 18th, May 2nd, May 16th. You've been buying Plan B every 2 weeks like it's a vitamin subscription. Tyler, Our insurance covers it at 100%. Did you know that? I didn't until I started really looking at the EOBs. Every single purchase shows up clear as day. CVS Pharmacy, Brickell Avenue, CVS Pharmacy, South Beach, CVS Pharmacy, Aventura. I looked up from the screen. You drove to a different location every time. That takes planning. That takes effort. Ashley sank onto the edge of the bed, her half-packed suitcase forgotten. I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to say something true, just once. When did it start with Connor? She was quiet for a long moment. Outside, I could hear our neighbor's sprinkler system kick on, the rhythmic tick-tick-tick of water hitting pavement. March, she finally said, right after Brad ended things. Brad ended it? His girlfriend found out. She gave him an ultimatum. Ashley's voice was flat, emotionless. So he stopped answering my texts. I had to sit down. I lowered myself into the reading chair by the window, the one Ashley had picked out at Pottery Barn 3 years ago. We'd argued about the price. I'd said it was too expensive. She'd said we deserved nice things. Let me get this straight, I said slowly. Brad dumped you, so you immediately found Connor. This wasn't about me at all, was it? This was just… what? Boredom? Entertainment? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Ashley? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like my wife spent 6 months having sex with strangers while I paid the mortgage and watched our kids and worked 60-hour weeks so you could have your nice things. She started crying again, harder this time. I felt invisible. After Emma was born, I felt like I disappeared. You were always working, and the kids needed everything, and I needed to feel like myself again, like someone saw me. So you went to Brad. He paid attention to me. He made me feel… Don't. I stood up. Don't you dare try to make this romantic. You had sex with your personal trainer in hotel rooms on Tuesday afternoons. You had sex with some gym client named Connor in his car, in his apartment, wherever the hell you two met up. You bought emergency contraception 6 times in 2 months. There's nothing romantic about any of this. Ashley's face crumpled. What do you want from me? I want you out of my house. The words came out cold and final. I want you to finish packing and leave. Tonight. It's almost 8 o'clock. The kids are at your mom's until tomorrow, remember? You dropped them off this morning before your errands. I made air quotes around the last word. Convenient timing. She stared at me. You planned this. The whole pharmacy thing, making me go pick up your prescription. I didn't plan anything. I needed my blood pressure medication refilled, and you offered to grab it while you were out. Remember? This morning at breakfast? I leaned against the door frame. But yeah, I knew there was a chance the pharmacist might mention the Plan B charges. They've been flagging our account for the past month. Too many emergency contraceptive purchases. The system thinks we're reselling them. Ashley's eyes widened. The pharmacist told you that? She told the insurance coordinator, who called me last week to verify the purchases were legitimate. I said they were. I said my wife had a prescription that required backup contraception. I smiled without humor. I lied for you, Ash. Right up until I couldn't anymore. She stood up abruptly, grabbing clothes from the suitcase and shoving them back in the dresser. I'm not leaving. This is my house, too. Actually, it's not. I pulled a folded document from my back pocket. I talked to Daniel last month. Had him pull the deed. The house is in my name only. We bought it before we got married, remember? You kept your apartment lease for 6 months just in case, and by the time you moved in, the paperwork was already filed. Her face went pale. You can't just kick me out. I can, and I am. Daniel already confirmed it. You have no legal claim to this property. I unfolded the paper, showed her the highlighted sections. You can fight it in the divorce, but that'll take months. Tonight, you're leaving. What about my things? Take what you can fit in your car. I'll have the rest shipped to your sisters. Ashley looked around the bedroom, our bedroom, like she was seeing it for the first time. Her gaze landed on the framed photo on her nightstand, our wedding day, both of us laughing in the Florida sunshine. We were happy once, she said quietly. No, I shook my head. I was happy. You were already thinking about who else you could be with. That's not fair. Fair. The word came out like a bark. You want to talk about fair? I encouraged you to join that gym. I paid for the membership, the training sessions with Brad, the cute workout clothes. I told you to take time for yourself, to do something that made you feel good. And you used every single thing I gave you to cheat on me. Tyler, Brad was 3 months, January through March. Hotel rooms every Tuesday and Thursday while I thought you were at spin class. Connor's been 2 months and counting. How long were you planning to keep this going? Until I caught you? Until you got pregnant with someone else's kid? She flinched like I'd slapped her. I was careful. Clearly not careful enough if you needed Plan B 6 times. I stepped back from the doorway. Finish packing, you have 1 hour. And if I refuse? I held up my phone. Then I start making calls. Your mom, your sister, your boss at the yoga studio, every single person in your contact list. I'll send them the screenshots, the hotel receipts, the pharmacy records, all of it. Ashley's face drained of color. You wouldn't. Try me. We stared at each other across the room, 10 years of marriage reduced to this. A standoff in a bedroom that smelled like her lavender lotion and my cologne. All our shared history packed into cardboard boxes or burned to ash. She broke first. She always did. 1 hour, she whispered, turning back to the suitcase. I left her there and went downstairs to the kitchen. My hands were shaking as I poured myself a glass of water. Through the window, I could see the pool we'd installed last summer, the water still and dark in the fading light. Emma had learned to swim in that pool. We'd had 4th of July parties, weekend barbecues, lazy Sunday afternoons. All of it felt like someone else's life now. Upstairs, I heard Ashley moving around, opening drawers, closing them. The house settling into its evening sounds around us. In an hour, she'd be gone. In a few months, the divorce would be final. Daniel had already assured me the evidence was overwhelming. I'd get primary custody, keep the house, probably wouldn't even have to pay alimony given the circumstances. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I just felt tired. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. Got everything. This is solid, Tyler. Call me tomorrow and we'll discuss next steps. I typed back. She's leaving tonight. I'll call you Monday. Another buzz, this time from my mom. How are the kids? Tell Emma I found her stuffed elephant. I stared at the message. I'd have to tell them eventually. My parents, Ashley's parents, our friends. Everyone would need to know why our marriage ended, why the kids would be splitting time between 2 houses instead of growing up under 1 roof. But not tonight. Tonight, I just needed her gone. The drive home from CVS took 11 minutes. I timed it without meaning to, watching the dashboard clock tick from 4:47 to 4:58 p.m., while Ashley sat rigid in the passenger seat, her pharmacy bag clutched in her lap like a shield. I didn't speak. Didn't look at her. Just drove our Accord down Biscayne Boulevard with both hands on the wheel, taking the familiar route back to our rental in Coconut Grove, while my mind replayed the pharmacist's words on an endless loop. Ma'am, I need to verify. This is your 3rd Plan B purchase in 8 weeks. Our system flags that for potential health concerns. Are you aware of the dosage limitations? Ashley had stammered something about helping a friend, a college roommate going through a rough patch. The pharmacist had nodded politely, processed the transaction, and Ashley had walked away with her prescription refills in that telltale white paper bag tucked beneath them. She thought I'd been browsing the vitamin aisle, thought I hadn't heard. I'd heard every word. We pulled into our driveway at 4:58. The house looked exactly as we'd left it 40 minutes earlier. Pale yellow stucco, terracotta roof tiles, the kids' bikes scattered across the front lawn. Emma's pink tricycle lay on its side near the bottle brush tree. Everything normal, everything fine, everything a lie. Tyler, Ashley started as I killed the engine. I held up one hand, cutting her off, pulled out my phone with the other. Opened our shared insurance app, the one I'd downloaded 6 months ago to track our family's medical expenses for tax purposes. The one Ashley had apparently forgotten synced every transaction in real time. 3 taps? 4. The prescription history loaded. I turned the screen toward her, holding it at eye level across the center console. Explain. Her face went white. Actually white, like someone had drained the blood straight out of her skin. The list glowed between us. Plan B 1 step, 0315, CVS Pharmacy 4429, Fort Lauderdale. Plan B 1 step, 0402, CVS Pharmacy 4216, Pompano Beach. Plan B 1 step, 0428, Walgreens 88C, Hollywood. Plan B 1 step, 059, CVS Pharmacy 4 New, Miami Beach. Plan B 1 step, 63, CVS Pharmacy 4401, Coral Gables. Plan B 1 step, 624, CVS Pharmacy 4519, Coconut Grove. 6 purchases, 6 different locations, all within a 15-mile radius of our home. Tyler, I can explain. You have 60 seconds. My voice came out flat. Dead. I didn't recognize it as my own. Starting now. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Her hands twisted the pharmacy bag until the paper crinkled. It's not, I was helping. 45 seconds. My friend Jessica, she's going through. I swiped to the next screen. Held it up. ATM withdrawals. Cash transactions that I'd cross-referenced during the pharmacy visit while pretending to compare fish oil supplements. ATM withdrawal. $200, 0315, 2:17 p.m. Fort Lauderdale, Beach Bend. ATM withdrawal. $200, 4:02, 1:43 p.m. Pompano Beach, Federal Wise. ATM withdrawal. $200, 4:28, 3:22 p.m. Hollywood, Broadwalk. ATM withdrawal. $200, 0519, 2:08 p.m. Miami Beach, Collins Ave. ATM withdrawal. $200, 0603, 1:56 p.m. Coral Gables, Miracle Mile. ATM withdrawal. $200, 624, 2:34 p.m. Coconut Grove, Grand Ave. Every withdrawal preceded a Plan B purchase by less than 90 minutes. Every single one. 30 seconds. Please, just let me. Who is he? Silence. Who is he? Ashley flinched. A tear rolled down her cheek, smudging her mascara. Connor. His name is Connor Walsh. The name hit me like a fist to the sternum. Connor Walsh. The guy from her spin class. The one she'd mentioned casually over dinner 3 weeks ago. Oh, Connor's really pushing us hard this month, I'm so sore. While I'd nodded and asked if she needed me to pick up Epsom salts. How long? Tyler. How? Long? Since March. Her voice barely a whisper. After Brad ended things. Brad's still in the picture? My hands tightened on the steering wheel. The leather creaked under my grip. No. Brad broke it off when his girlfriend found out. I told you that. Connor is... he's different. He actually cares about... I laughed. Actually laughed. A harsh bark that filled the car's interior and made Ashley recoil. He cares about you so much you need emergency contraception 6 times in 4 months? We're careful, but sometimes... Sometimes what? Sometimes he forgets to pull out? Sometimes the condom breaks? Sometimes you're just too desperate to bother? Stop it. 6 different pharmacies, Ashley. 6. You drove to 6 different locations so the same pharmacist wouldn't see you twice. You withdrew cash so there wouldn't be a credit card trail. You planned this. You systematized it. I didn't mean for it to... Get out of the car. What? I turned to face her fully for the first time since leaving CVS. Looked her dead in the eyes. Get out of the car. Go inside. Pack a bag. You have 1 hour. Tyler, please. 1 hour. Then I'm changing the locks. You can't just kick me out. This is my house, too. Check the deed. I pulled out my phone again, opened the county property records I'd saved as a screenshot 2 months ago. Sole ownership, Tyler James Bennett. Purchased before marriage with my inheritance money. You remember that conversation, right? When you said you didn't want your name on it because you didn't want the responsibility. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. 58 minutes now. Ashley grabbed the door handle, then stopped. What about Emma? What about the kids? They're at your mother's until Sunday. You know that. You planned Connor for today because you knew they'd be gone. Another tear. Then another. Her whole face crumpling. I'll call Daniel Price tomorrow. He'll have divorce papers drawn up by Monday. You can contest it if you want, but I've got 4 months of documentation, hotel receipts, text messages, GPS data from our shared family location app showing you at the Marriott in Fort Lauderdale, the Hilton in Pompano, that boutique place in Hollywood. And now this. I gestured at my phone. 6 pharmacy visits, 6 ATM withdrawals, a pattern of deception that a blind judge could follow. I never meant to hurt you. You meant exactly this. You just didn't mean to get caught. She sobbed then, a full-body shake that rattled her shoulders. I felt nothing. Just watched her cry the way you'd watch a stranger on a street corner. Distant, clinical, already gone. 55 minutes. Ashley stumbled out of the car, leaving the pharmacy bag on the seat. I watched her walk up the driveway, fumbling with her keys at the front door. She dropped them twice before getting the lock open. I sat in the car for another 10 minutes, opened my email, composed a new message. To Daniel Price. Subject, additional evidence. Attachments, insurance. Records, 0624 PDF. ATM transactions, 0624 PDF. Pharmacy, receipts, 0624 PDF. Daniel, pharmacy confrontation occurred today at 4:43 p.m. She confirmed second affair partner, Connor Walsh, spin class instructor at Core Power Yoga, Coconut Grove location. Attached are insurance records showing 6 Plan B purchases coordinated with cash withdrawals. Confronted in vehicle. Gave her 1 hour to vacate. Please advise on next steps for Monday filing. Tyler. I hit send, watched the email disappear into the digital void. Then I got out of the car, walked to the garage, and found my toolbox. The cordless drill sat right where I'd left it after installing Emma's bookshelf last month. I grabbed it, along with a box of 3-inch screws and the 2 sheets of plywood I'd bought for a backyard project that never materialized. Inside, I could hear Ashley upstairs. Drawers opening and closing. Her footsteps moving from the bedroom to the bathroom and back. The sound of a suitcase zipper. I walked upstairs. Stood in the hallway outside our bedroom door. She looked up when she saw me. Her eyes red and swollen, mascara streaked down both cheeks. A half-packed suitcase lay open on our bed. Our bed, where I'd slept beside her for 10 years, where we'd conceived both our children, where she'd whispered, "I love you," just this morning before I left for work. Tyler, I stepped inside, grabbed her phone from the nightstand where it was charging. Tyler, no! The hammer was still in my toolbox. I'd left it in the garage, but I didn't need it. I raised her phone above my head and brought it down hard against the corner of the dresser. The screen spiderwebbed. Ashley screamed. I hit it again. And again. Until the glass separated from the frame and the battery pack bulged out like a tumor. Tyler, stop! I dropped the destroyed phone on the floor, crushed it under my heel. The lithium battery sparked once, then died. 42 minutes. I walked out, closing the door behind me. Then I positioned the first sheet of plywood against the frame and started drilling. The drill's whine echoed through the house as I secured the last screw. Ashley's screaming had stopped 5 minutes ago, replaced by a silence more unsettling than her panic. I stepped back, examining my work. The plywood covered the bedroom doorway completely, sealed tight with 24 3-inch screws driven deep into the frame. I set the drill down and pressed my palm against the wood. "Tyler." Her voice came through muffled, small. "Please, I can't breathe in here." "There's a window," I said. "Open it." I walked downstairs, my legs moving on autopilot. In the kitchen, I poured myself a glass of water and drank it standing at the sink, staring out at the backyard where Emma's swing set cast long shadows in the fading light. My phone buzzed. "Daniel Price. Got your email. Do not engage further. Do not restrict her movement. Call me immediately." I stared at the message for a long moment, then looked up at the ceiling. Above me, I heard Ashley moving around, the scrape of furniture being dragged across the floor. The glass slipped from my hand. It shattered in the sink, water and shards everywhere, and suddenly I was on my knees on the kitchen tile, both hands pressed against my face, my whole body shaking with sobs that felt like they were being torn out of my chest. What had I done? I'd barricaded my wife in our bedroom. I'd destroyed her phone. The sound of wood splintering came from upstairs. I scrambled to my feet, took the stairs 2 at a time. The plywood sheet hung at an angle, 3 of the screws ripped clean out of the frame. Ashley stood in the doorway, her yoga mat in one hand. She'd used it to brace against the door while she kicked. Her face was flushed, her hair wild, but her eyes were clear, focused. "Move," she said. I stepped aside. She walked past me, down the stairs, out the front door. Her car started 30 seconds later. I watched from the window as she backed out of the driveway, her taillights disappearing around the corner. Gone. I stood there for a long time, looking at the empty driveway, the scattered bikes, the normal suburban street where normal families lived normal lives. Then I pulled out my phone and called Daniel. "I messed up," I said when he answered. "Yeah," he replied. "You did. Get in your car. Come to my office. Right now." The divorce took 8 months. Ashley fought for joint custody, claimed I'd held her hostage, showed the judge photos of the bedroom door with its screw holes and splintered wood. I showed him the pharmacy records, the hotel receipts, the GPS data, the text messages I'd recovered from her laptop backup. In the end, we split custody 50-50. I kept the house. She got her car and half the savings. No alimony. The infidelity documentation was too extensive. Connor Walsh disappeared from her life 2 weeks after I filed. Brad had already moved to Atlanta with his girlfriend. Emma asks sometimes why mommy doesn't live with us anymore. She's 5 now, old enough to notice, too young to understand. I tell her that sometimes grown-ups need to live in different houses, but that doesn't mean we love her any less. It's not a lie exactly, just an incomplete truth. She'll get the whole story when she's older, when she can process it without it breaking something fundamental inside her. For now, she has 2 bedrooms, 2 sets of toys, 2 parents who show up to every school event and sit on opposite sides of the auditorium. I see Ashley every Sunday when we exchange the kids. We're civil, polite. We talk about dentist appointments and report cards and whether Emma needs new shoes. We don't talk about that night at CVS or the bedroom door, or the 4 months I spent documenting her affair while pretending everything was fine. Some wounds don't heal. They just scar over. I'm dating again. Nothing serious, just coffee dates and the occasional dinner. My therapist says it's healthy, that I need to trust again. But every time a woman reaches for her phone during dinner, every time someone mentions working late or having plans with friends, I feel something cold settle in my chest. Trust, I've learned, isn't something you give freely. It's something you build, brick by brick, and when it collapses, the rubble takes years to clear. Daniel tells me I did everything right, legally speaking. The documentation, the evidence gathering, the methodical approach. It protected me in court, protected my relationship with my kids, protected my assets. He's right, I suppose. But late at night, when the house is quiet and Emma's asleep in her room, I sometimes think about that moment in the kitchen when the glass shattered. That split second when I saw myself clearly. A man so consumed by betrayal that he'd sealed his wife in a bedroom like a prisoner, who'd destroyed her property, who'd let rage override every bit of sense and decency. I'd become someone I didn't recognize, someone I didn't want to be. The irony is that Ashley's affairs didn't destroy our marriage. I mean, they did. But the real destruction happened in those 2 months when I knew and said nothing. When I chose documentation over confrontation, evidence over honesty, strategic advantage over human connection, I'd turned our life into a legal case, our home into a crime scene, our marriage into exhibits A through Z. Maybe if I'd confronted her after the first screenshot. Maybe if I'd demanded the truth instead of playing detective. Maybe if I'd been less concerned with winning and more concerned with understanding. Maybe. But probably not. Because the truth is simpler and harder than all those maybes. Ashley chose to betray me, over and over, with calculation and intent. And I chose to respond with equal calculation, equal intent, and a coldness that scared me more than her infidelity ever did. We both made our choices. We both lived with the consequences. Emma starts kindergarten next week. Ashley and I will both be there for the first day, standing on opposite sides of the classroom, smiling for our daughter while our broken marriage sits between us like a ghost no one mentions. This is what happens when trust dies. You don't get closure. You don't get resolution. You just get two people who once loved each other, learning to exist in the same space without touching, without connecting, without remembering what it felt like when they did. The moral, if there is one, isn't about infidelity or revenge or justice. It's about the moment you have to choose between being right and being human, and how living with the consequences of that choice is harder than any betrayal. I was right. I have the court documents to prove it. But I'm not sure I'm still human in the ways that matter. And that, more than anything Ashley did, is what keeps me awake at night.